Look, the World Bank wrote a very influential report 30 years ago, which was about recognizing with the changing demographics and so forth that state-run pay-as-you-go Social Security systems by themselves, both in developed and developing countries. So it doesn't matter where you look, we're not sustainable, and that there was a need to complement this and recognize that the you recall that the state-owned systems are imposed on individuals. Someone has to pay for it, so it puts taxes on the young to pay for the old, which is fine, but there are limits on that, and that Social Security is not free, so we have to be realistic in reality. That world report, to my experience traveling around the world on looking at and working with retirement systems, doesn't matter whether developed countries, rich countries, whatever, is all of them are moving in the direction of a greater responsibility of the individual for their retirement, and that's a reality that I don't think there's one has to recognize. So in that sense, it's not a new way of thinking, but it's simply the math of Social Security. Look, one of the reasons is we're living longer. I mean, there's the age distribution has changed. We're living longer. That's wonderful. Who doesn't want to have living longer? But like most all good things in the real world, they have their costs. And one of the costs is how do we pay for this extra length of life without making other adjustments? And we really can't. So, that's the trend in the world in general. What we want to do is if we can provide education to citizens that will help them to plan more effectively for their retirement and better understand the various ways of retirement outcomes from their decisions. To that extent, the complementary system leads to new savings and investments. It can benefit the economy for everyone. But the solutions must have to be reality. Now, turning to the particular Renda Plus brings an important feature for the Brazilian saver. It links the amount saved to the future real income. Most personal savings, even simple ones, you see an amount of cash, you go in, they talk about some return, but it doesn't link it to what you're saving for. There's a purpose for all of this. It isn't just saving for saving's sake, it's a purpose. By using these bonds, the way they're designed, the way they're taught, and the way they kind of mirror the features of Social Security in terms of information, by showing you the income that you will get, allows people to better understand the connection. And it also helps that kind of funding that this provides, which is like a pension, will also help the Brazilian government in financing, particularly things like infrastructure, where it's all payout for many years while you build the infrastructure, and then the rewards come much later. Typical financing goes the other way. You borrow money now, you have to pay coupons, you have to pay the interest every month. There's no income coming in from the project, and so you have to borrow even more. And then strange things can happen, sadly, where you can't refund or something, and you end up with half a project. The beauty here is that from a government's point of view as the issuer, the funds come in, like into a retirement plan, they're long-term, and they don't require a lot of payouts in the early days, which matches very well the pattern of important social infrastructural design. So I think that the very design of the bond will benefit everyone. Now, this could increase investment and so forth. Who knows how much? But if as I hope and believe it will be, if this catches on, this will become one of the cornerstones of the retirement system of Brazil, in my opinion. Okay. And the amount of funding that therefore it will raise can have a considerable impact on the stability and growth of the economy, for which every Brazilian will gain. So whether or not one is using these bonds themselves, which I think many will, you're still going to get the benefits of that. So I hope that this drives society to a higher level of governance and transparency and understanding, because it is so important with these large social programs that people understand what's going on. And I think then they can make good decisions. And we've provided a vehicle through this offering which allows them to implement the necessary saving under their control.
I like to add one point from the perspective of someone who is 2 decades or so from retirement. Uh, I think expecting the expectation that social net for retirement should solely be provided by the government is too much of expectation in the 21st century, because it's well known that social security system is adequate. It's not adequately funded in every country or any country, in fact. I see two very important roles for the government: national security and social security. Social security should be and will remain to be a public protection offering by the governments. However, if one expects that the government can guarantee a retirement income that can support their working years, comparable lifestyle, I believe they're expecting too much. Therefore, perhaps it's time for all of us to have a paradigm shift and accept that each of us needs to be in charge of our own future, including retirement security.